Good morning and welcome back to the National League Slater Gordon Championship. I'm delighted to be back for the second weekend of the championship. My name's Rosie Hodgson and I will be joined with Ryan Sippel today on Court A. Before we get underway, just to go through the teams for this match, we have Leeds Dynamos PFC versus GBG Saracens. We have Seb Copeland 4, Jack McNaughton 16, Reece Stewart 20, Liam Chadwick 28, Jack Humphreys 34, Harrison Taylor 44, Hayden Lambert 66. And for the Saracens, we have Aaron Kneebanks 5.
Sorry, Rosie, we've got a goal already.
Oh, wow.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gameweek 2 of the Slater Gordon Championship. Harrison Taylor already off the mark with little more than 10 seconds on the clock. Apologise for the late frantic start. Just a few technical issues, but a really nice crossfield ball from Hayden Lambert over to Harrison Taylor, and already Leeds Dynamos.
I'm glad you were watching because I was reading notes.
Should have confirmation of that goal.
There's a 2-on-1 on the edge of the box, which just gave the Saracens a chance to make it equal. Basin ball to take. Read beautifully by Liam Chadwick, who is ready to beat the ball out of the area.
I was impressed with Avery Basingbourne in game week 1. It was a difficult opening weekend for Saracens, competing in their first ever National League weekend. There was definite positives to take.
Saracens have so much potential in their team, and I think Avery Basingbourne is going to be one of those players in the future who is going to be, who knows, leading this sport maybe. So much potential, and is still very, very young.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. He's got a very high ceiling. One of the youngest players competing in the entire National League, not just in the Championship division. He's got experience of Jack Ebanks alongside him for this one.
GBG Saracens have got 5 games this weekend and actually have a chance to possibly put some points on the table. Later on today they play the Baggies, WBA Baggies, at 2:10 p.m. and Altrincham PFC at 4:30.
Yeah, that'll be a good game against Altrincham. I think in game week 1, GBG Saracens eased into things the more the weekend went on, and I think without question their standout was that 1-0 defeat to Manchester United late on the Sunday in game week 1. They will feel really disappointed they weren't able to get a point from that. It took a late Josh Slack goal to secure Manchester United 3 points. So maybe it just takes them a little bit of time to get up to the pace of the division, but as we've already said, the quality they have, it's an exciting team.
It is indeed.
Hayden Lambert trying to switch play back over to Harrison Taylor. It goes as far as the Dynamos number 44. It's a good passing play. Blocked by Jack Ebanks.
Liam Chadwick's able to put a lot of power on that ball. Is very vital in that middle role for Leeds Dynamos. Chance blocks there by the Saracens defence.
Hayden Lambert just locks up. I think GBG Saracens trying to take the pace out of the game. Both of these clubs were in the draw for the 25-26 John Good Group WFA Cup yesterday afternoon. Leeds Dynamos booked an away trip to Altrincham. GBG Saracens will play a preliminary round fixture against Sevenoaks Acorns. So 2 games that both will be expecting to win to progress to the next rounds.
I have to say, watching that draw yesterday was super exciting. Got me in the mood for the cup fixtures again.
I think I've seen your comments, and obviously we've got a lot of stories to tell regarding the cup, the new trophy, the new format, the introduction of the WFA Vase, and I know from your comment you're very eager to win our beautiful new trophy, and it is incredible. I don't think pictures and or videos do it justice.
It does look beautiful, and the attention to detail in the design.
That is all the John Good Group. They've gone above and beyond in every sense to really help us showcase our domestic cup competition. And just for context, the John Good Group WFA Cup will now conclude at the Derby Arena. So whereas the last 2 years our Derby Arena Showcase Day has hosted the quarter-final and semi-final stage of the competition, it will also host the final this year. You may be asking what implications that has of the FA Disability Cup weekend and the Powerchair final. That will now shift to be our almost Community Shield equivalent. So the cup winner will play the league winner at St George's Park live on TNT Sports, but we'll bring all the details regarding that in the coming days and weeks as Avery Basingbourne into Ollie Grafton. Blocked by Jack Humphreys. One thing I've always challenged Dynamos to do is just be consistent. They've got the quality to challenge right towards the top of the division. But in seasons gone by, whether it's player availability, player form, they've never quite peaked at that top level.
Dan Rigby and Lewis Harris, the coaches for Dynamos, who hold a wealth of experience in the game, playing for the England development team, who are very successful at the Four Nations Cup in Scotland the past few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Two players that will be hoping in the coming years to force their way into Adam McAvoy's senior squad selection. A 2-on-1 awarded in favour of Leeds Dynamos. Ollie Grafton and Avery Bazable too close to one another. Substitutes on the bench for both of these squads as it just trickles over the line. That's really unfortunate for GBG Saracens, who have settled into this game following that really early goal, and it was just an unfortunate ricochet which came off Hayden Lambert in the end. Either way, Leeds Dynamos do double their advantage.
We've also got a substitution. Harrison Taylor has came off for Leeds Dynamos, and McNaughton has came on. Jack McNaughton has came on for the Dynamos on the wing.
Yeah, obviously Lewis Harris and Dan Rigby wanting to get minutes in the wider squad, so it's probably something we'll see a fair amount. I was going to go on and say about the depth that both of these has. Benches of 3 players for GBG Saracens who have their first real sight at goal. I think Ollie Grafton was almost caught in two minds as to how to engage that. I would have probably preferred him to have a go on goal rather than look to Jack Ebanks. That may have been his intent, but it just didn't have the connection to really trouble the Dynamos goalkeeper. But there's obviously Harrison Taylor, Seb Copeland, Rhys Stewart for Leeds Dynamos, Aaron Ebanks, Adam Sevenoaks, and one of your highlights for the season when we sat down to predict the Championship division, Tommy Mickelson.
He's one of the most promising players in this GBG Saracens squad. He really excites me when he comes on the court. You can see the excitement and determination in his body and his size. Just so refreshing to see on the pitch. I hope he does get on this game because I feel like he could make a difference.
Swing and a miss from Jack Humphreys gives GBG Saracens possession high up the court to be taken by Avery Bazable. Nothing to really trouble Jack Humphreys, and now Jack McNaughton just forces it up the court. He'll be disappointed he couldn't just get the cleaner contact. Hayden Lambert was advancing down that alternate wing.
Yeah, a lot of space there where he could have just taken a touch on the side of the chair and gave himself time to think about the next step. We just had a slight technical issue with chairs. Looks like maybe the pin of Avery Bazable's chairs came out, and the referee, Pete Westmoreland, is just fixing it up. We're all clear, we're ready to go back again. Kick in for the Saracens. Bazable.
Hayden Lambert into Jack McNaughton, fires it goal bound. Fred Body has to come across. Again on the follow-up from Hayden Lambert. The thing is with GBG Saracens, it just is a little bit scripted, it's a little bit telegraphed. They need to try and mask their intentions a little bit better because the experience of this Leeds Dynamo squad just seemingly reading most of the things that they are intending on doing.
A beautiful ball there from Jackie Banks over to the wing for Ollie Grafton. Just unfortunately couldn't get there, and it went out of play for a Dynamos kick in.
Yeah, Jack Humphreys happy to let that roll out of play. Live on Court B, Villa Rockets Lions against Manchester City. There is some technical difficulties being experienced with that court, but I think we are up and live as it goes all far back as Fred Body into Jack Ebanks. Don't think he was present in game week 1, so they'll be looking to pull on his influence, quality, experience. Certainly in comparison to the other players in the squad, very experienced.
Definitely. Jack and Aaron played for what used to be Sporting Club Albion back in the 2010s.
Yeah, you're going back some way now.
I am. It's now named West Bromwich Albion Frossall. So
nice switch of play that from Liam Chadwick, sorry. They're just trying to get these triangles going. Chadwick at the base, Hayden Lambert and Jack McNaughton high and wide. You can see this is almost the 4-out system they're trying to adopt. A big square, create those overloads, win those 2-on-1s.
It does seem to be working so far. But the defence by the Saracens seems to be starting to click and things are starting to look more promising.
It's a brilliant ball from Jack McNaughton. It was thread through the GBG Saracens defence. I'm not quite sure what Hayden Lambert was doing. That should have been Leeds Dynamo's third.
I think a bit of chair preparation maybe was unfortunate there, but that was a great ball. Thread the eye of the needle from Jack McNaughton. Avery Basenball trying to keep the ball in play. Pete Westmoreland brings it back for a contact foul and a substitution.
Yeah, second substitute of the game.
Grafton is coming off and Aaron Ebanks is coming on. A great thing with the Saracens squad is when they take players off, the coach will go over and speak to them and say, watch this, look at how this player is going to work in this area. Think about how you can tackle it in the next phase of play, which is really good for players who work in that way, being coached. I work that way, and I know a lot of other players do as well. But Saracens are trying to push Leeds back into their own half.
Yeah, they certainly haven't been outclassed by Leeds Dynamos. Just two very disappointed goals in which they've conceded early on. First 10 seconds, they just weren't set, which is always the case when you're travelling to the National League on a Saturday morning. Getting up to the pace of the competition can sometimes take a game or two before you're firing on all solid cylinders, and then that unfortunate ricochet sees them go 2-0 down, but it's not a 2-0 game.
Yeah, it was very dark this morning. It did not look appetising to get out of bed.
I suppose the only silver lining is for November it is fairly mild. We've been in this hall in this month in years gone by and it has been Baltic.
Yeah, it's actually quite warm in here today, which is
not bad.
Surprising for November.
15 minutes played. These Dynamos 2. It is 2-0, so disregard the scoreline.
Leeds Dynamos taking their time to be able to take the kick. Personally, I would take it just a bit quicker. Chadwick to Lambert, intercepted by Aaron Ebanks. Sorry, Jack Ebanks. Jack Humphreys claims the ball's out of play and gets the kick in for Leeds Dynamos. A little bit of a contact foul in the middle of the pitch between Jack Ebanks and Jack McNaughton. Last warnings for both of them.
Jack Humphreys now. Has to be careful of this. Was a big, wide open gap. Once again, they're putting it in that channels, but Hayden Lambert, for some reason, reluctant to engage. Having watched it back, there is a clear area he should be occupying. You want him far more advanced than he is. Of caught ball watching slightly. He needs to kind of anticipate better where the ball will be placed, because with distributors like Jack McNaughton, Liam Chadwick, Jack Humphreys, you can never switch off.
You can't. But GBG are now trying to push Dynamos back in their own half again. Avery Basinball plays the ball to Jackie Banks.
It's a nice disguised pass that in the centre. Didn't quite get the purchase on that front bumper, but does on that second occasion. The 180 from Aaron Ebanks doesn't have connection.
It looked like really good phases of play.
It is good. It is good. It's just the two bits of advice is masking the intention, so you're not so obvious as to what you're going and how you're going to engage, and just that final connection on those passes and shots.
The Saracens have so much promise. It's just if they tidy up on those little areas.
And they will. We have to remember this is only their 5th game at National League level.
It is, yeah.
And we had this conversation in the Premiership when we were referencing teams towards the bottom end of the standings. GBG Saracens don't need to come out and blow teams like Leeds Dynamos away. It's going to be very unlikely. If it's not the experience, it's the quality of their opposition. But the games against Nottingham Forest, Manchester City, Hull and East Yorkshire, to mention 3, they're the games you need to really attack. They're the ones that are far more likely to yield points and ensure come season end, you've got a little bit of buffer between yourself and the jeopardy area in 11th and 12th. Obviously, it doesn't result in automatic relegation as it does in the Premiership. It's all determined by how many teams enter the playoffs.
It's now 1-0 on Court B. A great goal there by Naglis Montvillas, assisted by Kean Collins.
Jack Humphreys forces it away from Aaron Ebanks. Final minute. Leeds Dynamos in control, but Saracens not uncomfortable. Starting to get their passing going. Mainly Avery Basinball pulling the strings. But it's a tough task of any of the central players in this division to bypass Liam Chadwick. So he's going to need real quality if he's going to break the lines.
Liam Chadwick taking the kick over to Hayden Lambert. Oh, a great goal.
Yeah, whereas the 2 goals prior have been unlucky, unfortunate for the opposition, not on that occasion. Hayden Lambert in the right place, the right time, got the connection and gets his 2nd assist to add to his goal. So despite our question marks around him, fantastic contributions in this first half. It's Jack McNaughton that sees it over the line. Leeds Dynamos 3, GBG Saracens 0.
That was a brilliant fire of a pass from Lambert. That is one that I'm quite jealous of as a player, actually. But no, that was great connection, great play from the Leeds Dynamos team. Chadwick in control of the ball. Passes to Humphreys. The Basinball is there, trying to push them back. And it's half-time here on Court A. 3 to Leeds Dynamos, 0 to GBG Saracens.
Yeah, thank you to all that are tuning in. Apologies once again for the technical difficulties we had at the start of the day. Hopefully they are out of the way, certainly for Court A. We'll be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back. Second half here, Lee Westwood Sports Centre, game week 2 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. Leeds Dynamos 3-0 up against GBG Saracens. Good first half for Leeds Dynamos, got their goals, took their chances, but positives to take from GBG Saracens' perspective as well. I think they were really bright, and once they settled, they managed to have spells of possession, which isn't always an easy thing to do against Leeds Dynamos. It's just about the small wins that they're going to need to take from games like this against teams that are challenging towards the higher end of the standards, I think it's fair to say. As Jack Ebanks takes it in reverse nicely, combining with Tommy Mickelson, who's been introduced to the action in place of Avery Bazin-Ball. Get confirmation of that change. Tommy Mickelson switched to Jack Ebanks, ricochets out off Liam Chadwick, but a good start. Ebanks off of Seb Copeland, who's also entered the fray in the half-time break. We're hopefully all up and running on court B now, so Rosie Hodgson has switched courts to get full coverage of Villa Rockets Lions against Manchester City. Here on court A, however, GBG Saracens have penned Leeds Dynamos right back into their own half. Can they make their chances count? That is the real question. Aaron Ebanks. That's disappointing. Jack Ebanks was always shielded behind Hayden Lambert, so it was always going to be fired straight up the court by the Leeds man. Obviously John Dixon turning his expertise to coaching this season with GBG Saracens. One of the standout players in the Premiership division. Absolutely love it when players, the true experts of this game, turn their hand to coaching, as Harrison Taylor, interestingly, opts to go back to Liam Chadwick, and by that point, he was surrounded by red and black shirts. The 2-on-1 is the right decision, but I would have liked to have seen Hayden Lambert use the ball's momentum and take it further in this bottom right-hand corner. But yeah, love players coaching at the various levels. Chadwick cut out by Aaron Ebanks. The 180 of Chadwick nearly squeezes its way through. Fred Body did well just to organise with Tommy Mickelson. It's never necessarily a formality that a goalkeeper can establish that chemistry with a central player if the coaches switch things up in the middle. So I think that from Fred Body needs recognition. Same with Tommy Mickelson. Got to get up to the pace of things almost immediately. He's going to drive out of danger now. Pick off from Aaron Ebanks across the box. 180 into Hayden Lambert, but can't quite wrap his chair around it to keep it in play. But I like this GBG Saracen squad. I think they will have enough across the entirety of the season. And if they can keep that core together, this could be a very exciting team for the years to come. And as a question posed in that first 20 minutes. Can Leeds Dynamos go on to challenge towards the top of the division? They've always finished middle of the pack. They have the capabilities to beat anyone on their day. This result would take them up to 10 points from their opening 5 games. It's just if they can get the 3 points against the Nottinghamshires, the Villa Rockets Lions and teams of that ilk. They follow this game up against Nottingham Forest, one they'd be expecting to win as Harrison Taylor patiently takes it in reverse, 180. Doesn't have the real venom to trouble the defence, neither that from Liam Chadwick. There is a slight tendency to force it sometimes with Dynamos, and once again Hayden Lambert, it rolls out of play, shows such positive signs. I think with Hayden Lambert, I don't think it's unfair to say he's a very instinctive player. When he has less time to think, he's really productive. But when he's given 3, 5, 10 seconds to make a decision, sometimes that can catch him out as Adam Sevenoaks enters the action. Needed more angle that from Tommy Mickelson. Likewise on the secondary effort, but it does go as far as Adam Sevenoaks. A beautiful play from Tommy Mickelson. Completely sent Hayden Lambert the other way. And that's what we was referencing in the first half. The fact that players of his age, or similar to Tommy Mickelson, have the ability, the knowledge, the know-how to engage a ball in that fashion. Sport in this country is in very safe hands. If we reference the next generation, having the pleasure of coaching on the FA's Regional Emergent Talent Programme, the base level of that pathway, I get to see all these youngsters up close, their talent, their characters. It goes as far as Jackie Banks. And I know from that level that many of them, players currently enrolled either in the South Midlands or North, have the potential, have the ceiling to get to England senior level. And having spoken to John Boulding recently on the 2-on-1 podcast, he wasn't even in a chair at 16 years of age. You see what he's done in his career in the 20 years since. These players are going straight into strike forces. So you only need to use your imagination to think that in 10, 15 years what players like Avery Bazin-Ball and Tommy Mickelson can really go on to do. Is Liam Chadwick, it's very condensed, the right decision that from the official Pete Westmoreland. Mickelson into Adam Sevenoaks. He's happy to let that roll. Sensible decision, actually, because it just puts possession high up the court. There's that communication piece between Mickelson and Ebanks. Just that confusion allows Harrison Taylor to break away. Flicked. I think you can see from the experimentation, the switch-ups out wide and centrally, that John Dixon is trying to figure out his most effective team for any one given opponent. What he'll set up with against Leeds Dynamos may be different to what he sets up against Manchester City and such. So that's squeezed through, and Hayden Lambert with a sight, a goal. How Fred Body managed to prevent that from being Leeds Dynamo's fourth? I really don't know. Fantastic save, trapping it on that left-hand post. I don't think Fred Body was present in game week 1. I might be corrected on that. If this is, I'm sure someone in the comment section will tell me, but if this is his first experience at National League Championship level, I've been impressed with him. Just had to be alert the entire game, can't switch off, and he's prevented a few clear goal scoring opportunities for Leeds Dynamos, who make a flurry of changes. Jack McNaughton and Jack Humphreys entering in place of Hayden Lambert and Liam Chadwick. Pick off from Jack Humphreys, cut out by Adam Sevenoaks. That's a sensible play from the Saracens number 19. Yeah, as suspected, Fred Body, it is his first weekend. I knew Jack Ebanks wasn't present in game week 1. So, firstly, congratulations to Fred Body, marking your debut in the National League Championship. A lot of noise from Court B. It's also live on the WFA's YouTube if you want to see what's going on over there. Here on Court A, however, Leeds Dynamos look like they're going to be cruising their way to 3 points to kickstart their game week 2, their busy game week 2. Look how condensed it is. But you can see there's a real reluctance, certainly when Seb Copeland's adorning that goalkeeper jersey, to commit in a 4-out fashion. They only kind of look to impose that style of football when certain players are on the court, and Jack Humphreys is wearing that alternate colour. Tommy Mickelson forcing it up. Yeah, I don't disagree at all, Paul. That's the sort of maturity that will develop across the season, knowing when to take risks. It's all about risk versus reward, certainly when you're towards the bottom of the standings. And if you can manage that, know when to capitalise, when to commit forward. One thing I'm sure you can answer is, do GBG Saracens want to try and figure out a system that accommodates the skill set of both Tommy Mickelson and Avery Basinball? Because they've both had good stints in the centre. I think on reflection, Tommy Mickelson looks the brighter, looks the more solid. I know he wore the goalkeeper jersey on occasions in game week 1, so maybe a pivot system between the two at some point. But I think as a conservative setup, one that's more solid defensively, I think Fred Body is the answer in goal. As Jack Ebanks just flicks it into the centre. It's a free kick for GBG Saracens. Into Adam Sevenoaks. I think a goal is the least they deserve from their efforts. Their heads have not dropped in the slightest. If you're joining us for the first time, they conceded within 10 seconds of the opening whistle, and you could almost understand players with this inexperience to almost drop their heads, but that hasn't been the case. If anything, they've matched fire with fire, and it's just been a few breakaway goals and unfortunate ricochets that sees them 3-0 down. But this is not a 3-0 scoreline. in terms of the performance. That is for certain, as Tommy Mickelson's going to try and get, which would probably be nothing more than a consolation. As Jack Ebanks was just trapped too close to Tommy Mickelson on that occasion. I apologise, it was 2-on-1 for GBG Saracens, so can they capitalise into Jack Ebanks, and he flicks it goal bound, and they have their goal, as said, no less than they deserve. Tommy Mickelson the provider, Jack Ebanks the scorer, and I'm really happy for them. Leeds Dynamos 3, GBG Saracens 1. There is 5 minutes to play. If they get another goal within the next minute or so, we could have a really interesting conclusion to this fixture. Jack Ebanks, over to Adam Sevenoaks. You can tell Tommy Mickelson's really growing in confidence, pushing his side up the court. He has responsibility of this kick in here. Over to Jack Ebanks, fires it goal bound, blocked by Seb Copeland. Didn't really have the power to trouble the Dynamos goalkeeper, so Humphreys breaks away. I think that just took a touch off of Jack Ebanks, certainly from my angle, which is not favourable. Yeah, there is a bit of confusion between the officials, so I can understand the decision initially. Blocked by Rhys Stewart. Tommy Mickelson flicks it. I would like to have seen Jack Ebanks stay in reverse there. I think it would have just had the power to reach him. And in doing so, just got too close to Mickelson in the centre. Nice, really nice play. Fantastic ball. I'm situated right below this bottom right-hand corner as you view it, and that was fired beautifully down the court. Would have really liked to have seen Rhys Stewart just stay in reverse. There's always that tendency to want to try and engage it earlier than you should. Exhibiting a little bit of patience in those situations can sometimes be the difference between successful and unsuccessful engagements. As Jack Humphreys now switches it. That's better from Rhys Stewart. The position, the arc, the run doesn't come to anything, but having two instances and two situations very similar to one another, you can probably see the difference in how he engaged it. He needs really good control of the joystick, just to almost mirror the trajectory of the ball. This has been a fantastic game, a great way to kickstart Game Week 2. I think if you Leeds Dynamos, it's job well done. You progress on to a busy weekend. You play Nottingham Forest later today, so no doubt the aspiration will be maximum points as it's switched. Once again, Jack Ebanks. I'll have to watch it back because my attention was with Adam Sevenoaks on this right-hand wing. But could he have stayed in reverse? As I was saying, Dynamo's maximum points will be the non-negotiable goal for GBG Saracens. So impressed with them. Please don't just look at the scoreline and assume it was a comprehensive defeat. Far from it. For me, certainly in this second half, they've been the better side. And they also have a busy 5-game weekend. Some really tough fixtures, but some winnable ones in there as well. They follow this up with West Bromwich Albion, Baggies and Altrincham later today. Tomorrow is really intriguing. Manchester City and Hull and East Yorkshire, the two teams above them in 11th and 10th respectively. So we shall see. A late chance here in the final 10 seconds for Leeds Dynamos. I hope, if I can say that, they don't concede it, because I think just this 2-goal buffer is the fairest reflection on how it's played out. But we know how good Jack McNaughton is at dead balls. Just patiently waits for the rotation into Fred Body. It ricochets between Stewart and Body. And Reece Stewart deemed too aggressive there. I think that's an interesting one. I don't think he was too aggressive in his pursuit of his first goal of the game, but Pete Westmoreland deems it as such. So GBG Saracens escape. There are so many people at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre today, as you can probably see in the hallway and the mezzanine. It's fantastic to see. It really is. Jack Humphreys tries to exchange with Reece Stewart. Tommy Mickelson has been absolutely superb, and that signals the end of the game. Leeds Dynamos 3, GBG Saracens 1, and yeah, a fantastic game. Harrison Taylor opened the scoring after just 10 seconds. Hayden Lambert, after about 7 minutes, got their second. And then just prior to the half-time break, Jack McNaughton made it 3. It looked like it was going one way, but GBG Saracens rallied in the second half. They made that change in the centre, and that proved the difference. They got a goal late on. But overall, positives to take from both teams. A huge thank you to everyone that has tuned in, to myself, Ryan Sipple. I am up next on Court A, and I'll be calling the action of Norwich City and Hull and East Yorkshire. Thank you all.